Hi guys, it's Deanna, and today it's raining out. It's a lazy Saturday. I have homework to do, but I thought I would do the Gilmore Girls book tag. Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life is coming out in like less than a week now, next Friday, November the 25th, and I don't know about you, but I am dying of excitement. So I've started to rewatch like a couple of my favorite episodes from Gilmore Girls. It's probably like my favorite show of all time, I would say. It's definitely my comfort show. Like me and my boyfriend's like bonding show, like emotional show. We love it so much, and like I am so attached to the characters. So I am so excited for it to be coming back, as like each episode is gonna be like a movie. So I thought, you know, with it coming up in like less than a week, I wanted to do the book tag because I have seen it going around on BookTube for a while, and I've always wanted to do it, but I knew the revival season would be coming out, so I wanted to wait till it's closer to then to do this. By the way, this tag was created by Pucks and Paperbacks, and I will link her channel down below in the original tag video, so if you're going to do this tag, please give her credit for that. Okay, so the first question is Lorelei. Find a character from a book with a witty or sarcastic sense of humor. And for this question, I'm going with Katie from Illuminae. I thought she is so witty and like so sarcastic too. At points when like it should be a serious moment, and she was just like so sassy. You know, maybe she's not as like fun-loving as Lorelei, because obviously it's a very like dire situation in this book. She seemed to kind of have like her wits about her and kind of just like crack a joke, especially at the beginning of the book, and just like so much sass from Katie. And then question number 2 is Rory. What's your favorite classic? Rory is like, I identify so much with Rory, but I also like love her as like if she was my own kid. And so there's so many books like that I could associate with Rory. The first one I haven't read, but is the first thing that makes me think of Rory the most, and that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I don't know why, I think of Rory so much when I think of Jane Eyre. I don't know, like I know it's kind of like a story about a governess, and like I know there's some love interest in there, and that just like kind of reminds me so much of Rory. And so I just can imagine her reading this like all the time, and so I'm like super looking forward to reading this very soon because this is just my Rory book. But going off of classics that I have read, honestly, the Nancy Drew books that I have from like my childhood, I don't know if they're like classics, but they're just from my childhood. Like, yeah, they're so old, and I have like versions that my mom had when she was a kid, so it's like I have super old versions, and then I have a new version too. So like these books I remember like really got me into reading when I was little, and so honestly, Nancy Drew, all of those books were just so classic to me. The next category is Luke, a book that you secretly love but you are afraid to admit to others. And for this one, I'm going with Divergent. In the BookTube community, I feel like it's a lot more accepted to love Divergent, but then like when I'm talking to my friends or family members who like maybe haven't read the book, and I'll like describe it to them, like so much like hate. Okay, Hunger Games got me into dystopians first, but like I got way more attached to the first 2 books in the Divergent trilogy than like the Hunger Games. So I love this book, and I still really, really love it. I love the idea of all the factions, and like I would always try and like fit myself into 1 or 2 of them when I was a teenager. And so yeah, sometimes I'm afraid to admit that I love this book so much. The next category is Lane, and that is to pick a musical character from a book. And for this, I'm going with Kestrel from The Winter's Curse. I'm actually only like on chapter 11 of this book, so I'm not very far in, but so far she seems to be obsessed with piano playing, and like that's something that's sort of looked down upon. I grew up playing the piano, and so I really liked reading a character who like loves playing the piano as much as Kestrel does in this book, and that just reminds me so much of Lane because she was so dedicated to drums and the band. And I am so excited to see Hep Alien come back. If they come back, I'm hoping they do, but like, is anyone else super pumped for that? Because I love that band, and I love their group, and I'm just so like, oh, I can't. Okay, next is Dean, and that is to pick your first book love, whether this be a book or a character. I don't have the books anymore because I grew out of them, but it's Edward from the Twilight series. Yeah, I read them all when I was 16, 17, whatever. And yeah, I fell in love with Edward. Probably like every other teenage girl out there. My love for Edward has since dissipated. Okay, next is Suki, and that is to pick a book that you devoured. Because we all know Suki is like the best chef in probably all of the United States. So for this, I am going with Throne of Glass. I read this last month, and I didn't read it super fast, but that's because I didn't have a lot of time with school and stuff. But like when I did read it, I would read huge chunks of it, and like I could not put this book down. I don't really get where some people were like having a slump when they would read this book or were bored with it. I love this book. I think I gave it a 4.5 stars. I'm super excited to read the next book. Actually, I think I'm going to start with The Assassin's Blade and then go on to Crown of Midnight. But yeah, I completely devoured this book, and I think it's so worth the hype. Okay, next is Jess, and it is pick a book you love that gets the most hate. And I don't know that I agree with this category title. Jess is like my #1 top pick for Rory. Okay, teenage Jess was a dick, and like I understand how people could hate him as a teenager, but like grown-up Jess and like adult Jess is like so perfect. What I went for this was Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by John Tiffany, Jack Thorne, and J.K. Rowling. I really enjoyed reading this book. I went in knowing it was a script and that it wasn't completely by J.K. Rowling. I don't really get a lot of the hate. I mean, like I do because it's like very personal to people and people are so attached to the Harry Potter series, including myself. But I was just so excited and like so appreciative and grateful that they decided to continue on this storyline. Like give a taste into what life was like after Harry and the Golden Trio had grown up. Like, yeah, the plot wasn't like top notch, and yeah, there's a lot of plot holes, and there's some issues with like character development and stuff like that, but I kind of take that at face value and take it with a grain of salt. I really enjoyed it. I really loved reading it and was so happy to return to this world. Next is Miss Patty, and the category is to pick a book that got ruined because of all of the hype. So I gave this book away already, so I don't have it, but it is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. I didn't really like this book. I thought I would love it. I don't know. I just didn't really attach to it. I felt it was like just too young for me, I guess, and like I just couldn't really take any of it seriously. The romance in it was just so cheesy to me, and like a lot of the storyline just like I was very like lost and like didn't really make sense why they're doing certain things. If you really like it, that's great. It's just my personal taste. I think I'm just like too mature for it now, or like I don't know, maybe I just wasn't connecting, like I just couldn't connect to the characters really. So it got hyped up a lot and I went in with pretty high expectations. Okay, the next category is Emily Gilmore, and it is to pick a expensive book. So I'm like cheap because I don't have a lot of money. I'm a student that is in university, so I don't have really expensive books. But I was going to tell a story when I went into Toronto and I went to all these different bookstores and I wanted to pick up a book from each bookstore. I got The Gollum and the Ginny by Helen Recker from a bookstore in Toronto called Ben McNally Books, and it was gorgeous cover, and I've heard a little bit about it, not too much. I know it's a historical fiction, so I decided to pick this up there, and I paid like $21 for it because, you know, it was like a brand new book and like from this really fancy bookstore. And then the next bookstore I went to that very same day, I found it again there for like $7 or something like that, and in like used but very good condition, so I kind of regretted it a little. So no expensive books for me, but hopefully one day when I get more of an income I can splurge on a really expensive book. And the last character is Paris, and this is to pick an uptight character from a book. So I picked Hermione from the Harry Potter series. This is just the second book in the series, but more so Hermione from like, I guess the first couple books, like book 1 to maybe book 3-ish. When Hermione is younger, she is like very uptight and like very like education driven and like knowledge driven. So Hermione, we all love her very much, but yeah, I think she was a little uptight at the beginning of the Harry Potter series. Okay, so that's everything for my Gilmore Girls book tag. Just a couple things. Let me know if you want to do this tag, like feel free. Also let me know what like team you're on, like if you're team Jess or Dean or Logan. Let me know your thoughts and like what you think might happen if you're going to watch the revival, if you have never watched Gilmore Girls before, and like I want to talk about it so much, and I just love this show so much, and it's so dear to me and to a lot of other people, and I think it's going to be such a great time when it comes out, and there's going to be a lot of bonding going on, and I'm just so excited. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you're having a fantastic day, relaxing, and I'll see you later.